Hi, I'm Mike. I'm one of the creators of Aura. Aura is a server-side agent harness, and I don't want you to expose your keys to your agent. That's why when we designed Aura, we decided to actually have a way to keep keys completely out of the normal agent flow. What we do is we actually have the ability to go ahead and define your keys directly inside of your Aura config file. But that's not the only way to do it. So let's take a look. If you notice here, I've got a couple MCP servers configured. If we wanted to, we could actually go ahead and just add our headers directly here. You notice that we do have XMCP toolset set here, but like, what if we want an authentication header? Well, we could put it in line. However, that's not always the best way to do it. Aura is server-side, or it has the ability to be server-side, and we do support multi-tenant configs. So in that case, it might actually be a lot more interesting to pass your headers directly to Aura and then have that contact your downstream services for identity and authentication purposes. So we're going to go ahead and drop this here. Notice in our case, we're using the GitHub MCP. And it's got this kind of curious line in here. It's headers from request. Notice that it's got authorization and it has this key authorization. So what this line's basically telling you is that whatever headers that are passed into Aura at request time, in this case, the authorization header, is going to be automatically mapped as authorization when it hits the downstream MCP as it calls through. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Let's see. Let's not commit this yet. So let's just connect without it and kind of see what's happening here. So we're going to run Aura CLI to connect. We're just going to do like a little hello request and see what's going on. And we will notice that we actually can't authenticate to the GitHub MCP. There's nothing downstream of that. So we're going to correct this. Okay, so zoom in here. We're going to go ahead and write this file. All right, and we are going to go ahead and restart our server. All right, we're all the way back up. Okay, let's go ahead and pop in here. And this time, we're going to send our headers. Now, you can do this from your own framework if you're sending through a web request. But what we want to go ahead and do in this case is use a nice little shortcut built into the CLI. So you can, let's see. You can actually have this -- API key helper. And what that actually does is it automatically passes your header through as authorization bearer. There is another argument that you can go ahead and like define that a little bit more granularly. And then on the from a web request, we support any number of named headers. It's up to you. But authorization bearer is common, so we have a nice little helper built in here. And this time, let's have it tell us a little bit about its GitHub capabilities. All right, we notice my GitOps repo in this case is available. It knows what capabilities it does and doesn't have. However, if some process were to call this without the headers being passed at all, nothing would be forwarded, and we would get the response like we did initially, where basically nothing has access. So this is interesting. You can use this, like I said, for multi-tenant deploys. You can use this for identity forwarding. So different users have different identities and different permissions for services downstream. And it works out pretty well if you're running this for an SRE team. Keep in mind, Aura is available at Mezmo Aura on GitHub. We're completely open source. Feel free to check it out. Leave a comment, file an issue, fork it, run it. We're open to seeing what you're excited about building, and hope you enjoy building with it.